Hello.
Hey, how are you? Hi.
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 Matt, did you ever find the right pear deck?
Find the right what?
Yeah, I just realized as I clicked on the Zoom link, I did the entire wrong section.
Okay, that's all right. Well, so you can take a look at the next one. All right.
Should I just do the next one next week or just finish it later?
Yeah, you can do it. You can just, that's fine. You can just listen and watch it later.
All right.
No worries. Hey, Sean. Hey, Ben.
Jack.
Hey, Jack.
How's it going, Mr. G?
Good. Good to see you on the airwaves. Hayden, did you find the right one? You were in the wrong pear deck.
Yeah, I still have like 4 minutes left though.
Okay. All right. You can just listen and think of some questions that you might have. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming back. Sorry about the confusion if you're having to navigate a couple different pear decks. We got a lot going on here. So Andy and Mary have generously agreed to join to answer some of the questions that came up. And you guys had some really good questions. So what I might do, Andy, Mary, is I've read a couple of them and I might just shoot them out to you and see if you want to respond. And I'm going to change the view to speaker so that when we make a recording of this, they'll be featured on you, okay?
Okay.
The first question that the kids wanted to know about is they said, since you two were married for 56 years, one thing we studied in this course is that people fall in and out of love all the time. So they wanted to know what you two did to respond to fall. How did you two handle falling in love with other people in your marriage?
I got this. Okay. I don't think that it's so much falling in and out of love as it is in and out of like. And we just discovered that this morning. You know, I still love him. I still, would die for him. I mean, we're into this. We're in this. We're both committed. At least I am. I don't know about him.
Well, you know about me. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. We talk about. Well, we laugh about it. We don't believe in the D word. At least not divorce. Death is another option. But there are times when I just don't like him, and that passes.
I think the question, if I'm understanding the question, it's if you like someone outside the marriage.
Yeah. So what have you two done when you've fallen in love with somebody besides you two?
That actually happened to us.
But I wouldn't say it was
we were
love.
we were on our 30s. We were probably married maybe 15, 18 years, somewhere on there, maybe.
I
10,
guess, yeah.
somewhere on there, 10, 12 years, whatever it was. And Mary got attracted to a guy at work.
Yeah. What I saw on him, I don't know, except that I was just like, I was really bored with Andy. I was kind of fed up with him for whatever was going on. And this guy just seemed different. And that lasted for about a week. It was like, it was, and I'm going like, what the hell am I thinking? So, but I will say this, it did, I made a commitment that I would never do that again. I would never stray. I didn't go all the way or whatever with this guy, but I would never get into that kind of a situation again. And if it's just not going to happen, something that you have to be committed to, and that I am.
Yeah, and then in processing that, one of the things that I found out about it, it wasn't a real happy time for us at that time, but it took me I think it was close to 5 years before I finally processed it, finally got really, really angry. I remember I was journaling, and I was on Highway 40, and I was in a traffic jam. And so I had my notebook in front of me, and I just was writing while I was sitting in the traffic. And I was so angry, I was tearing the paper with the pen I was writing. But getting that all out, getting all that anger out about, how she wasn't faithful and so on, really helped also to process the rest of it. And we've talked about it a number of times since, and it really taught us a big lesson, about looking elsewhere.
Right.
But like Mary said at the very beginning, we are not always in love. We say we love each other 20 times a day, but we don't always feel it.
Right.
Believe me.
Right. And what happened in this, I think this might have been God orchestrated, because we were getting kind of,
You're boring.
we were bored with each other.
Mhm.
And I think what he did is he brought this other guy into the equation that just gave us, I mean, it was like we sat back and looked like, what the hell are we thinking, And yeah, I would never get caught up in something like that again.
And it's interesting too how some of this can really be misunderstood. There was a time when I was we're both in a 12-step program, and there was a time when there was a nun, a Catholic nun who was very homely, who I met a couple of times for coffee because she just needed to talk. There wasn't any attraction at all up there, but as far as Mary's was concerned, I was talking to this gal, not with her there, and she felt like I was emotionally abandoning her, and straying. So, once I understood what she felt, then I went back to the gal and I said, we can't do this anymore. And, like I said, there wasn't anything there, but on Mary's side, looked like there was something
I felt
there to
insecure
her. Yeah, she felt very insecure.
in the relationship. So just funny. I hadn't thought of that, those things in years,
Yeah,
either one
well,
of them.
We've had a few experiences here.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Some of you, like I said, didn't get a chance to go questions in the Pear Deck. So why don't you just raise your hand and just ask some questions that you're thinking about that you'd want to ask. Anything come to mind?
Pretty much the boring you guys to
Yeah.
death.
Well, the guys
Hi.
this morning were still half asleep. Here we go. Tristan.
Hi. I know my grandfather went through Alzheimer's, and we lost him to Alzheimer's a couple years back. And after hearing your story in the video, that kind of hit close to home. So I was wondering, what are you guys doing to kind of deal with how that affects you, Mary, and how the side effects that come along with Alzheimer's?
We laugh.
That's true. That's one of the things, is that we've tried to lighten it up as much as we can.
Because if you really sit and look at it, it's a death sentence. They could scare the hell out of you. But it's really, I think, I got to tell you this story. I'm not going to bring up where it is. Okay, but I had a visit from God once. Now, I did not see him. And you're never going to guess where I was. I was sitting on the toilet in the ladies' room in Costco's in South County. And I heard this voice say, you can either let this tear you apart or you can have fun with it. So I'm looking, over here was a solid wall. So I knew there was nobody on this side. I looked down, I didn't see any shoes, in there. I seriously considered standing up on the toilet where I was and looking over, but I thought I could go to jail. And I really thought there was somebody next door because I heard the voice was so clear, but I could not tell you whether it was male or female. And then, it was real quiet. And then all of a sudden the voice asked the same question again and just said, you decide. Would you rather let it scare you or, scare you to death, or you want to have fun with it? And
Go ahead.
And this little, I have what I call an inner child. I think everybody's got an inner child, and she's a pistol, and I call her Sunshine. And I could hear her saying, "I want to have fun with it. I want to have fun with it." And I'm going like, and most people, and I'm going like, "I want to have fun too," And I went outside and I'm telling Andy about this, and he's going, "Okay," like, like I've gone around the bend. And for a while there, I have to admit that I was kind of thinking I did too. But it really made a difference in the way we look at this.
Yeah, so basically what Mary's talking about is our attitude toward it is a lighthearted attitude. But the other thing is that we're doing a lot of things, Tristan, proactively. We've gotten involved with the Alzheimer's Association. We do lots of exercises that help to exercise Mary's brain. One of the things that we do is improv for memory loss. We do music therapy for memory loss. We've done art for memory loss. And I'm in a support group, on 3 different support groups for the spouses of Alzheimer's people. And the other thing is that we've really studied the medical side of it. And what we've discovered is that Alzheimer's is a lifestyle disease. What you eat, what we found out is that that Alzheimer's actually starts 20 to 30 years before the symptoms show up. So, you might be 70 years old when the symptoms show up, but the disease actually started when you were in your 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
And that's all dependent on what you eat and how you live, how well you sleep, stress, all kinds of things. So we're trying to address as many of those areas as we can. We eat really healthy. We do a lot of exercises, and we are very, very healthy. And that really is helping to slow the process down. Mary's in several other groups where the guys we started out together, but the guys are much more advanced than Mary is. She's probably the sharpest of the bunch.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we've lost several guys
Yeah.
that they've just died
Yeah,
within
we've
a
lost
couple of years.
3 of them over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and this process could take 20, 25 years, before I finally get to the point where I'm drooling down my chest,
No, not that long.
but again, some of the stuff that I've read,
Okay.
And there was one other thing that I wanted to say that, and this is, pay attention to this, because every morning in high school, the 4 years I was in high school, every morning on the way to school, I would have either a jelly or a chocolate donut and a cherry Coke. And sugar is one of the worst things next to drugs that you can put in your body. So food for thought.
Tristan,
Thank you so much.
who else has
Sorry?
a question?
Zachary, was that you?
I was just kind of wondering how, I guess I'm sure at some point you guys have had dry spells. You guys kind of talked about kind of the dry spots. How do you really work through those and kind of reconnect?
How do you work through the dry spots in our relationship? Is that what you're saying, Zach?
Yes, sir.
Crazy.
Okay.
They don't usually last very long.
Yeah. One of the things that we started doing years ago is we started dating again. When we were first going together, we used to date and do a lot of fun stuff. And then, you get kids and everything else, and life gets kind of boring. And so basically what we did is we reinstalled a date night. In fact, we have 2 date nights. I've been in AA for 35 years, and my home group used to meet at 6:15 on Fridays, and date night was always started at 8 o'clock on Fridays. I usually didn't go out with the guys afterwards. I came home and we would go to dinner, and we would talk on Friday night, and then we had a second date night on Saturday where we actually would go to the show or do something fun. But we basically started dating each other again, and that made a huge difference. So hopefully that answers your question, Zach.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Alex, all we can see is your chest. Dude, you look like you're sitting on top of the camera.
Good. What else
Sorry,
you got?
yeah. my camera is really close, so
He showed up as six.
position correct.
Okay, sorry, say it again?
Oh, he said it was his camera angle.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm using my iPad, so this is if I want to
Yeah.
get on first level, I have to
Yeah.
lay down.
okay, what happened here?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm changing the view so we can look at some of the questions they have.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, we got one that says, how'd you avoid divorce? You kind of talked about that. Let's see if there's anything else.
Okay.
Oh, somebody said all the things you've gone through could make a good movie. Well, that's true.
That's right. Maybe I
No,
just,
actually, that's what we're doing right now. We're making a movie with you guys.
You're part of it.
yeah.
You're
so-
all part of the.
So sit up straight so we can get a good shot to you. Jack, we can't, all we can see is the top of your curly head.
The other questions
you
people asked in the pair deck were questions that they've already asked out loud. So I don't know if maybe they're done. You guys have anything else for the good of it? Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
What would you say was the moment that or the thing that made you realize yeah, this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with? Like, what was that moment or thing?
You got one for that. You're not going to believe this, but actually, he hired me for a job, and when I walked in and I looked at him, and he had been driving all night, and then he flopped over a motel bed when he got in there, and he overslept, and he woke up, and all he had time to do was throw water on his face, and I don't know what he got, and he looked like hell, and I'm dressed like Astor's pet horse because I'm on a job interview. And I went through like 3 or 4 people before I finally got to him. Nobody seemed to know who it was I was supposed to talk to. And so when he showed up, I'm going like, the first guy was like, whoa, all right. And then he's going, oh, that's not me. You want to talk to this guy? And then the second guy is going, I'm going like, oh, geez, he's a little older, but no, he's all right. He's okay. And then, and then finally it's Andy I'm supposed to talk to. And he's like, what were you, how old were you?
It's 20.
20 years old, and I got him by a couple of years. Okay. So, and his glasses were so dirty, I couldn't even tell if he could see me, and so I'm
I made a really good first impression.
I'm going like, holy crap, Well, that was when I went on the interview, and then what ended up happening is he did not find the one, I guess, that he wanted. By the time the store opened, we were going through an opening. And by the time the store opened, which was 3 days later, so he calls me and he's like begging me to come at least work for the opening. So I felt sorry for him. I didn't really think it was a good idea. I felt sorry. I said, okay. And he came, and we found that we really clicked. We worked well together. We got along together. We had fun together, And then when he comes in for the opening, he comes in a suit and tie, and he's all spit shine and polished. And I'm going, whoa, that was just a bonus. But by this time, we had realized that we connected on a deeper level, and that was more. It wasn't so much the looks.
But it probably happened faster for Mary than it did for me, because it took me a while to really, just to get to know her, and that's a really big piece of finding successfully finding the right person, is to really spend time getting to know that person, because our tendency, of course, when we meet somebody for the first time, is we try to put our best foot forward. We're not ourselves. We're not real. And you got to hang out with somebody long enough to find out who they really are. Then you get married, and that usually takes quite a while. It takes well over a year or more. So I can't say that there was any one, big flash. I know in your case you were writing "I love you" on the window of my car.
Yeah, we were sitting in the car. We had the
Scared the
windows
crap
open.
out of me. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm like an open book. What you see is what you get, and you probably got a pretty good take of me already. That what comes out of my mouth, I mean it. and I'm just,
She usually hasn't thought about it much either. before
right.
it comes
No, I
out of her
shoot from the
mouth.
hip. Yeah, I shoot from the hip. So it's real. And I think, you'll, when the right gal comes along, but just take your time and be slow and let it play itself out.
One of the mistakes we made really in that first year and a half
Yeah.
or so that we dated is we were getting to know each other on a pretty regular basis for that first year. But somewhere in the last 6 months or so, we started playing around sexually with each other. And once that started, all the learning stopped
Mhm.
about learning more about each other. It was the whole focus was on that. And as we look back on that, I mean, obviously we were pregnant at the time we got married, and we've never hidden that from our kids or anything like that. We were really straight about that. But looking back on that, if I do have one regret, I wish we
Yes.
had spent more time getting to know each other before we started doing that. That we really held each other to a
Higher
pure
standard.
marriage. I
Yeah.
think at the beginning.
Yeah. We're not sorry how it turned out, but by the same token, if we had it to do over again, I think I would cool my jets a little more.
Yeah, we would have learned much more about ourselves. So we've had to do a lot of learning over the years that we've been together too. Yeah, so.
Thank you. Good question, Matt. Anything else in your mind?
Yeah, that was a great question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. This looks like it's gonna be
Bunch
fun.
of good looking guys, right?
Yeah. Some big boys in there too.
All right. Well, thank you, Andy and Mary. We really appreciate you coming on. Guys, I think if you don't have anything else, I'm good. So I'll get to see you in the flesh on Monday. So have a great weekend and take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Tristan,
I was actually wondering about the book that you kept mentioning. I was interested in reading that.
the book that I,
Where'd you put the book?
here, it's, you've got to believe. I got the idea from a license plate on how to
Oh,
do.
Tristan, I have a copy of the book. Do you want me to bring it to you on Monday?
Sure. Or my dad can pick it up because I'm all virtual. So,
Oh, okay. So what I'll do is I'll bring it to school on Monday and let you have my copy.
all right. And then I'll get it back to you. But thank you very much again. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome.
Okay.
Great pleasure.
Wait a minute. I blew that. That was a book sale. And
It's okay. It's okay.
what was I thinking? Oh man.
That's all. Our first 27-minute presentation. I said, you keep selling the book over and over again.
And then look at me. I'm the bad middleman. I just screwed you out of the money. You could have made that.
No, I started at one point, I started
She's not
saying,
after making money on it.
I know.
I started to say, one thing I've talked about, but it was either thing in the bathroom or one of the other questions, and I started to say, well, it's in the book. And I thought, no, he rode me so much and you kept selling the book. I selling the book. And I said, I wasn't selling the book.
No, you're
I wasn't trying to.
You keep on plugging. You're good.
You kept plugging the book.